Hey everyone, this is your girl Sharifa, aka Shree, and welcome to the I'm Good podcast, or in better words, the I Feel Good podcast. If you are new here, welcome to the family. This is a podcast where I explore topics on mental health, physical health, nutrition, and everything in between. So if you're trying to get right and stay right mentally, this is definitely the place you want to be. And wait, before I begin, here's some quick info. Why did I name this podcast I'm Good? Simple. Because as people, from a cultural standpoint, whether we are down or happy, our favorite response to friends, families, or strangers is I'm good, even if we're not. It's completely normal not to feel happy all the time, but in the midst of whatever you go through, the saying I'm good can elaborate to so many different meanings. So yes, this is the place to be, whether you are down, happy, excited, and everything in between. I'm here to dish out knowledge, talk about current topics, and of course, lift you up. So feel free to go ahead and subscribe, share this podcast, leave a review, and tell a friend. Now let's go ahead and get started on today's show. Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And let me explain to you really quick. First of all, for starters, it's free. Yes, I said it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And I know most of you guys have a phone or computer, so it's so easy. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey everyone, welcome to the I'm Good podcast. If you are new here, what's good, what's poppin'? Thank you so much for joining me. For all of my returning listeners, what's good? I'm good, fam. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to today's episode. I hope everyone had a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. Listen, y'all. Yeah, I love my I'm Good fam. I love my new listeners. I love my old listeners. I love my continuous listeners. I love all of y'all. But I just, first of all, as I always like to say, is thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast. For my new listeners, listen, dive in. Feel free to share this podcast or, binge, listen to all those episodes. Do what you got to do. I have a bunch of episodes you can listen to. It's about to be a year. Can't believe it. These months are flying. These weeks are flying, but I'm loving it. It's about to be a year. So I'm so thankful for everyone who has tuned in from all different parts of the country who tune into this podcast each week. Y'all some real ones, okay? But yes, y'all, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the I'm Good podcast. And then also, too, this podcast is also sponsored by All Things Shree. Yay, me. All Things Shree, an online store, is a brand that I created to encourage, inspire, and uplift others. It is a Black-owned brand. So feel free to go ahead and shop on allthingsshree.com. And just for you guys, I do have a special promo code, which is I'm Good Fam. But if you are listening to this today, I am currently having a sale that runs until tomorrow where all sweatshirts, yes, I said it, all sweatshirts are $30. So if you love this podcast and you want to support your girl, if you want to support the brand, if you want to just support, go ahead and go to www.allthingsshree.com. And I think you can leave notes as well. So feel free to leave me a note and put your I'm Good fam. Do whatever you got to do. So feel free to head over to that and take a listen. Take a listen, y'all. Not take a listen, but you know what I mean. So make sure you guys go ahead and shop, not listen. But yes. So yes, go check that out. So that's www.allthingsshree.com. If you listen to this podcast after, because the sale is until Saturday, if you listen to this podcast on Sunday, you can still go ahead and use your promo code. It will still be good. Promo code is I'm Good Fam. And if you forget it, feel free to look in the show notes. Also, too, if you are listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys go ahead and leave a rating and review. This helps the podcast grow even more, and it helps a lot of listeners from around the world get to be able to listen to even more episodes. Well, not even more, but it helps introduce my podcast to the podcasting world. So thank you guys so much for all those who have left a rating and review. Well, actually, I don't think I have any, well, thank you for everyone that has left ratings, I should say. So if you guys want to go ahead, feel free to leave a rating. Rating is just stars. You can do stars. Or also, too, if you prefer, you can go ahead and leave a review. And then also, too, our weekly roll call. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the weekly roll call. Like I said, the weekly roll call was implemented during me just thinking about different ways that I can grow the podcast more, help other people more. For me, I love affirmations. I stand by affirmations. And I just honestly feel like affirmations help you grow more even mentally. So it's not for no one else. It's not for, someone down the street. Affirmations is honestly literally for you. So go ahead and listen to our midweek roll call where I do affirmations. And like I always say, feel free to write them down. And I record them and I put them out on Wednesdays because it's considered hump day, like your midweek. So if you are a typical person that works like me, like I would say like a 9-to-5 job, or just, it doesn't matter, whatever you do. If you don't work a 9-to-5, whatever you do, the Wednesday is typically like the mid of the week where a lot of us, we, tend to kind of feel drained or down. So that's what that is for, the midweek roll call, to just uplift your spirits, to make you feel like, to make you feel good, period. The I'm Good podcast. Like, why would I not do something to make you not feel good? So, and yeah, so that is that. And then also too, so this week, how did my week go? My week was pretty good. I just started something new, that I guess I can't really share it too much yet, but just a lot of good things. I'm just working on ways to grow my business even more, just ways to grow this podcast. I'm just really, really excited about things that are going to come forth. There's so much I want to do. And then also, too, guys, our 1-year anniversary of this podcast is coming up. And I'm excited. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything about like a 1-year anniversary suggestion, feel free to leave me. I think this is so bad. I haven't been on air in a bit, but my podcast Instagram is I'm Good Podcast. Yes, I'm Good Podcast. So if you have any suggestions or something that I should do for the 1-year podcast anniversary, let me know. Let me know. Because y'all are my supporters. And like I said, I enjoy recording this podcast. I enjoy helping people. So if there's anything that you think, you would like for me to do, if it's a webinar or whatever it is, let me know. Obviously, I know we're all going through a pandemic, but if there is something that, something that you would like for me to do, let me know. And then I can look into it. We might be able to do some things. So yes, y'all. So let's get started. So today's podcast, I wanted to talk about breaking the cycle of comparison. And this is something that I was just thinking about over this past week. And I just been kind of thinking about just generally over the past couple months, especially now, that I have, especially my online business up and running, is I just thought about comparison. And I was like, I think it would be a really, really good topic to talk to my listeners about, breaking the cycle of comparison. Like, how can I stop comparing myself to others? How can I stop comparing myself to this man? How can I stop comparing myself to this woman? Like, how can I stop comparing myself to say, oh, I wish I had what she had? Or, a guy can say, I wish I had what he had. Like, how can we stop comparing ourselves? Like, oh, I wish I had this car or this car. So I wanted to just talk about breaking the cycle of comparison and, ways to stop comparing yourself to others and just start living. Because ultimately, once you stop comparing yourself to others, you start living. And what's crazy enough is that oftentimes when you compare yourself to others, somebody's actually looking at you comparing yourself to them. So you might think you don't have it all. You might be comparing yourself to someone else, but someone looking at you wishing they were in your position. So just kind of think about it that way. So just my biggest thing I will say is own who you are. Like, own it. Now, if there are things that you need to work on, just anything, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever. If there are things that that you need to work on, I say take charge in that, but own who you are. That is honestly something that I'm doing right now in this season of my life, is that I'm owning who I am. So with this podcast, I'm owning who I am. I've said it before, people that may know me might be like, what? She's doing a podcast on mental health, nutrition, and self-care. I could have never saw that coming. But the thing about me is I knew it was in me. God knew it was in me. And this is something I've always had in me, but I felt like I never really had no one to talk about things like this. But that's why I love this platform so much. And that's why I love talking to you guys, because you guys, are able to benefit from these type of topics. So that's the first thing I definitely want to say is own who you are. Like, own it. Like, whatever. If you like to listen to jazz music, country music, own it. Like, be you. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't think, because so-and-so listens to R&B music, I have to listen to R&B music. Or sometimes I'll catch myself like, when a new album comes out by like somebody, like I'll just put it like this, like if a new album comes out by a rapper, because everyone's talking about it, I'm like, I gotta listen to it. But in actual reality, where I'm at in life right now in my season, I'm in more of a season of, I'm more R&B, and I'm more in the season of more meaningful music. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like my rap, like Meg Thee Stallion. I did like her recent album and stuff like that with the beats and stuff. But for me, as I go through this journey of, self, I'm more listening to stuff that has to do with, helping myself. So I listen to like a motivational podcast, like Eric Thomas. I listen to motivational content. I look at affirmations. I listen to and watch YouTube videos that are going to help me. So that's the thing I will say is just own who you are. Like this podcast, I said, is me owning who I am. Like I'm owning who I am. At the end of the day, this is me. Like I can't change myself for no one. And I think oftentimes we compare ourselves to other people. Like for instance, me, I could easily say, well, you know what? I'm not going to do a podcast on mental health and nutrition and diabetes or, the mind and food connection. I'm going to do a podcast on gardening. That's not me. Like I don't think I ever gardened before. So I'm just saying, own who you are. Even if whatever is going on is popular at the moment, own who you are. Or if something is popular at the moment that you do want to take part in, put a spin on it and just be you. So one of the things I want to also talk about is, one way to stop comparing yourself is, sometimes you just have to get off social media. There's no other way around it. And like for me, I'll be transparent. Like I'll go on social media and I'll see things. I'm like, dang, she got this nice car. Dang, she got this luxury apartment. Dang, she got this. She got this, she got that. She look at her bundles. Look, and then all of a sudden you kind of look at yourself like you ain't got nothing, but little do you know you got everything that you need. So one thing I will say is if you feel like you're not at a good mental space and you're already bashing yourself and down on yourself, social media is not going to help it. Facebook and Instagram is not going to help it. And I will definitely say for sure, Instagram is not going to help it because it's a visual. Type of social media platform. And then also on top of it being a visual platform, a lot of people show up as their best self. Like even for me, like for my personal Instagram page, I show up as my best self. I don't put my worst self on my Instagram. Therefore, you're not going to see the worst on there. I may talk about it in a pic of me, where I might look happy and stuff, but I'm not going to show up and show you my worst self, if that makes sense. So that's just my brand. I'm not going to show you my worst self because I'm here to help uplift people. But I will talk about what I've done in the worst that I went through to get to the season that I am now. So I will say, sometimes if you feel like, if you feel anxious or you just like feel bothered, you need to take a break, unplug from social media. If it's 30 days, if it's a week, if it's 1 day, if it's 1 hour, unplug from social media because social media will drain you. And this also goes for my entrepreneurs because I have obviously a business. Is as an entrepreneur, even a podcaster, I might see somebody with 100,000 followers or 1 million followers. And I might be saying, well, I'm not good enough. But you have to understand that you are good enough. You don't know how the people got the followers. You don't know nothing. At the end of the day, own who you are. And I'm a big believer for what's for you is for you. Like, don't compare yourself because someone has 1,000 followers and you only have 500. Me, only have 500 on my personal Insta. But like, don't compare yourself. Somebody has 1.1 million and you only have 200. At the end of the day, own who you own whatever you do. And also, too, the person with 1.1 million followers may not even be happy. So would you rather have 200 followers and actually be happy in real life? Or would you want to have 1.1 million followers and be depressed and miserable in real life? So you got to look at it that way. Like, so I said, sometimes you do got to get off social media because social media is a platform where you show up as your best self. And you know what? You can't knock it. That's what it is. That's how people make their money. You show up as your best self. You wear the bombest outfits. You look the best. You do this, you do that. You make yourself look presentable for most cases for any type of social media influencer account. you try to make yourself look the best. Now, if you're using Instagram in a way for just like, casual, friendly way, to connect with friends, how it used to be, that's different. But if you're trying to grow a brand and trying to put out a certain image, then yes, you probably most likely will just show up as your best self. So that's one of my tips is, sometimes you have to disconnect from social media. Another thing I want to say is, do what you love. Do what you love. Who cares? Who cares? Somebody says like, why are you painting, or why are you gardening, or why do you like looking at the dictionary? Like, why do you like listen to podcasts? Like, why are you always this? Why are you always that? Who cares? Who cares? Do what you love. I mean, there's no other way around it. Do what you love. Who cares what other people think? And like, I think oftentimes, we do things based on what other people want us to do. Like sometimes we go to college because maybe our parents or somebody told us to go, or maybe we're in this profession because someone told us to do this or that. No, do what you love. And I always said this, whatever you do or whatever gift that you have or whatever gift God gave you or anything like that, you're going to eventually make money from it, if that makes sense. Not that you're trying to make money from it, but eventually you're going to see something come out of that when you do what you love. And people can see when you do something that you love. Like for me, I love recording this podcast. I love talking about all things mental health, wellness. I love talking about nutrition. I love helping people. Like I'm doing things that I love. Like I'm doing things that I love. I'm doing things that I like to do. And I'm doing things for me. I told myself as I go through this journey of self, I can't keep doing things that I don't like to do. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, if it's something somebody wants you to do, to try it out, yes, go ahead. But I'm saying things or places, or even if it's a job, if a job is draining you, let it go. Find you a new job. Pray about it. Have some faith. Say, God, get me through this. Help me to figure out what I need to do. Do I need to quit this job? Do I need to go part-time? Figure it out. But honestly, I will say do what you love, because once you do what you love, you won't be comparing yourself to someone who is doing something that they love. So oftentimes we compare ourselves to other people that are doing something that they're loving what they're doing, and they took that leap. So one way to stop comparing yourself is to take that leap of faith. So if you do want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to become a YouTuber, or if you want to become a podcaster, you might be like, oh, dang, she always talking about her podcast episodes or podcast show. And you might be like, oh, well, she already got 1,000 blah, blah, blah listeners, and I don't have none. Well, one way to stop comparing yourself is just to get it done. Start putting yourself out there. Start the podcast show. Start the online business. Get into whatever it is that you want to do, so you don't have to compare yourself to others who are already there. So oftentimes somebody who might have 200 followers might be comparing themselves to someone that has 1.1 million, not understanding that it may have taken that person 10 years to get there. That person wasn't always there. So, and also too, everybody has their own lane. Maybe your lane isn't Instagram. Maybe your lane isn't, I'm just making up, gardening. Maybe your lane isn't a podcast. But whatever lane it is, you have a lane. And I will say, once you find that lane and you know what that lane is, once you find that lane and actually go into that lane, I'm telling you, you're not going to compare yourself, because you're like, what am I comparing myself to? I'm doing what I need to do, and that's it. Like, comparison, y'all, I'm telling you, comparison is trash. Like, I've been there and I'm still working on it. Like, comparing yourself to others will get you nowhere. Like, literally nowhere. Like I said, if you got to turn off social media, cut it off. If you got to turn off YouTube, cut it off. Listen, do what you got to do to cut it off to get yourself on track. Another tip I want to say is, let me see. I'm looking at my own writing. It says, I don't know what I put, so I'm going to skip that. Another one I said is let go of unhappiness. So if you've been feeling unhappy, if you're feeling down, let go of it. If you're around people who make you feel unhappy, whatever way you got to do it, figure it out. Maybe limit the time that you're around that person. Maybe figure something out. Like, something can be done. We talked about this in the previous podcast. There are 9 times out of 10, there's a solution to most things. So if you're around negativity and you can't get away from it, maybe put some headphones in, maybe watch a good show, maybe watch a comedy show, do something. Maybe you should go out, hang out with some friends, go to your favorite restaurant, like do something to get yourself out that environment. So one way you can stop comparing yourself to others and whatever they got going on is, focus on yourself. Okay. So say to yourself, okay, this situation or this place is making me unhappy. How can I change it? Or you can also say, me doing this is making me unhappy. So figure out what's making you unhappy so that you can progress forward to becoming happy. Because once you become happy, you really don't really, even if you are happy, you might feel a little bit to want to compare, but you're not going to compare as much, I feel like, when you're happy. So when you're truly, genuinely happy with yourself, you're not going to really compare. A lot of times, us comparing ourselves to others comes from insecurity within ourselves. And as a woman, I will even say it, like even body image and stuff like that. As women, we have insecurities. Like sometimes, and I've done it too, and I still do. I might see someone with a certain shape, and I'm just like, oh, I'm insecure. Like I don't have that shape. And that's why also too, you see a lot of people out there, and I can't speak for everybody, but you see so many women out there, who are insecure, who may feel that they need to make changes to their body to look like someone else or to get the attention like someone else. But it's crazy. And I understand as a woman, it's crazy and it's hard. But I mean, at the end of the day, I always say there's like a solution. So if you feel like, if your body doesn't look the best or how you want it to look, like say, for instance, like even guys, if you're like, you see a guy, he's always ripped and has like abs and stuff, and you feel like you're a little fluffy or got a belly, one thing you could do is just start going to the gym. Maybe look at some workouts on YouTube. Do something to make yourself feel better. And I'll guarantee you, once you start going to the gym and once you start doing your sit-ups and your ab routine, I'm telling you, you'll stop comparing yourself to the guy that has abs because you're now doing the things that you need to do to make yourself get it. Sorry, I had to cough. But yes. So basically, you just have to figure out what's the problem and what's the solution. 9 times out of 10, for whatever problem that you have, there is some type of solution. That's the great thing. So, listen, just work on that. And another thing I want to say is dress how you want. Now, obviously, I'm not saying go crazy, whatever. I shouldn't say that. But if someone says to you, like, why do you always wear dresses? You never wear sneakers. Ignore that. Wear dresses. Or someone always says to you, girl, you always wearing sneakers and sweats, but you never dress up. Wear your sneakers and sweats. Like, dress how you want. Listen to what you want. Do what you want. Do more of what makes you happy. Stop thinking you have to live based off of someone else's vision of your life. No. And that's something that I told myself. I'm no longer living off of someone else's vision. I can't do that because living off of someone else's vision is their vision. And God gave everybody their own vision. And for me, I have a huge vision. My vision is great. Like the things that I have manifested, the things that I have spoke about and how it's just coming into life is crazy. But by me talking about it before it happens and me telling people about it, they might say, girl, you crazy. But for me, I already know what's in me. So the perfect thing about you or perfect thing about life or just you as a person is that you know what's in you and you know what you're capable of. So even if you have a big goal or you say, you know what, I'm going to run $1 million business. Listen, go for it. Like, go for it. Anything is possible. And I always say this, and I want to tell my I'm Good fam, do what makes you happy. Don't settle for what makes whoever else happy, Susie, Sally, whatever. Do what makes you happy. If that means you getting your hair done every week or something, do what makes you happy. That's what makes you happy. Now I'm saying, like, obviously if you're getting your hair done and it's financially messing you up or it's causing other issues, then that's when you have to evaluate it. But the things that make you happy, I will honestly say, just do it. There's nothing else to it. Do it. Listen to the music that makes you happy. Dress how you want. Sorry, y'all. I keep coughing. Sorry. Gotta get some water. Listen, y'all. Do what makes you happy. Like, honestly, do what makes you happy. There's nothing to it. I'm telling you, once you start doing what makes you happy, comparison will fade away. I'm not saying that it will diminish. I'm not saying that because I'm not perfect and I still find myself comparing myself to others. But when you do what you need to do and step in your own lane, listen, that little comparison window gets smaller, smaller, and smaller. So I'm going to grab me some water. One second. Sorry, y'all. I know y'all probably like, what is going on? Sorry, I had to get some water. My throat is scratching. But yes, y'all, do what makes you happy. Do what you want. Be you. Stay in your lane. Love who you want. If somebody not making you happy, figure it out. There's a solution. You can cut them off. You can figure it out. You can limit the time you are around them. Listen, do what makes you happy. The more you do what makes you happy, and who cares what anyone else thinks, the less you're going to compare yourself. You compare yourself because you're insecure about something, or you feel like you should be where they are at. So figure that out. Stop comparing. Cut off the social media. Go to work. Listen, go to work. And listen to this episode every day if you need to. If this is your power episode, listen to this every day. If this is your up power lifter, whatever, listen to this. This is what this episode is for. Because listen, we are breaking the cycle of comparison. Listen, we're breaking it. We're not doing it. Period. So, and the last thing I want to say is invest in yourself. Invest in your health, like physical health. Listen, I don't know how many times I got to tell y'all, physical health is just you ain't going to be comparing yourself when you get your body and your mind right. I'm telling you. So just invest in yourself physically, spiritually, mentally, financially, all of it. Just invest in yourself. Like once you get all those areas, you're going to be like comparing to myself to who, what, huh? Like literally, you're going to be like, compare what? I am the comparison. So seriously, but yes, y'all. But invest in yourself. Listen, y'all got this. So before we go, because I feel like my throat a little, listen, y'all. It's so scary talking about like my throat or like when I cough, because I know everybody think like COVID. Like, no, y'all. So yes, y'all. Before we go, we got the quote of the week. And yeah. So this quote of the week is no one is you, and that's your superpower, period. No one is you, and that is your superpower. Listen, y'all got a true superpower. So you already know what time it is. I'm good, fam. We are now at the end of this week's show, and I hope this information was helpful, insightful, and everything in between. And do not forget to go ahead and subscribe, share this podcast, leave a review, and tell a friend, and share it on social media. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and I will see all of you beautiful people next week. Bye-bye.